Hello Patriots! Today in our math lesson we are going to compare and order decimals. So up at the top of your paper, if you would head it compare and order decimals. Make sure you have divided your paper for your 2-column notes. What I want to start with in this lesson is to think about how or why you might compare decimals. For example, you might compare baseball batting averages. You might compare the weights of animals or insects or any type of small objects. So one of the first things I want to talk about is greater than. And greater than of course means a bigger value. And the symbol for greater than looks like this. And this is just a review for us. If on the right hand side of my 2-column notes I write a number, and I'm going to write 67 hundredths. So to write that number I would write a 0 decimal point 67, and then I'm going to leave a blank here, and then I'm going to want to compare it to the number 59 hundredths. So if I write that number, it's 0.59. Now when you compare decimals, it's like comparing whole numbers. You have to read it from left to right. And if I look at this number 6, and then I look over my other number and the first number is 5, I know that 6 is greater than 5. So 67 hundredths is going to be greater than 59 hundredths. Now remember some hints we've talked about way back even in first grade, that this could be an alligator mouth and the alligator is opening up his mouth to the greater number. You could also remember that when you make the greater than sign, if you make 2 dots is greater than 1 dot, so that is the greater than sign. So 2 dots is going to be towards the larger number. And 1 dot is going to be pointed at the smaller number. Push pause for notes. Again, when we are comparing numbers, whether it's whole numbers or decimals, we want to always read left to right. I'm going to highlight that word always because it's very important. Less than, the symbol for less than looks like this. And a number word for comparing that we're going to talk about is equal to. And of course here is our equal sign. On the right hand side of our 2-column notes, if we are comparing some numbers, let's go ahead and try some. I'm going to compare 1 100th, so 0.01, and I'm going to compare that to 1/10, and that number is written 0.1. If I read left to right, I have a 0 and I have a 1. 0 is less than 1, so I would put my 1 dot towards the smaller number and make my less than sign. Another example we can do is compare 7 hundredths to 8 hundredths. If we look left to right, we start in our whole number 0 0, so those are the same. Because they're the same, we better compare or move over to the next place value. And when I look at the 10th place value, I still see 0 and 0. And since they're equal, we need to go over yet another place value. So now we're looking at our hundredths place value. and I see a number 7 and a number 8, and I know that 7 is less than 8, therefore 7/100 is less than 8/100. If I would like to compare these two numbers, I'm going to write 7/10 this way, and I'm going to write it this way. If I look at my whole number, 0 and 0, they're equal. I need to go to my next place value over, and that is 7/10, and they're the same. Now, when you look at this first number on the left, there is no 0, and that's okay. They imply that there is a 0 there, and then there would be a 0 in our other number, so these two values are equal to. You can write 7/10 this way, right here, or you can also write 7/10 this way. Push pause for notes. If I have numbers and I want to compare them, and I want to put them in increasing order, increase. In increasing order means to go up. And say I had these three numbers. I have 11/100, and I have 1/10, and I have, let's see, 12/100. If I want to put them in increasing order, that means I need to start with the smallest number. If I look at my whole value number, my ones place, they're all zeros, so they're all equal. I need to look at my next place value over, and they are all ones. When I move to my hundredths place value, then I see a 1, a 0, and a 2. The smallest number out of those three is 0, so I would write that number first, 0.10. The next smallest number between 1 and 2 is 1, so I would write 0.11. And then my largest number is 0.12. And if they are in increasing order, I would say 1/10 is less than 1/11 and less than 1/12. Push pause for notes. If I want to write numbers in decreasing order, then I am starting with a larger number and going down. So for example, if I had 0.50, 0.40, and 0.45. Now remember, when I go in decreasing order, I'm starting with the largest number. So comparing again, we have 0, 0, 0, 1s. If I go to the 10th place value, I see a 5, a 4, and a 4, and I know 5 is bigger than 4, so that would be my first number, 0.50. And that number is greater than one of these two numbers. So let's see what we have left. If I go at this place value and I look at my hundredths, I see a 0. And on my next number, I go to the next place value and I see a 5, and I know that 5 is greater than 0. So my next greatest number is 0.45. And that number is greater than 0.40. Push pause for note. The last way I want to show you is that we can use place value blocks to compare. For example, if I have the number 0.13 and I have the number 0.10. This is 13. I can draw 10 blocks and divide into 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I need one more. 10 plus 3. 1, 2, 3. Over here I have 10, so I can draw 10 blocks. And I will do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I see that the 0.13 or 13 hundredths is greater number, so I'm going to put my 2 dots, then 1/10. Push pause to write notes. That's our notes for today. Great job, Patriots. See you tomorrow.